Shawnee boy, how we doing, my friend?
What's up, T? What's going on, man? I'm doing good, man.
I was sitting here. We're recording on a, just so people know, recording on a Saturday afternoon, which is out of our usual time frame because I closed the shop early because we got a storm and everything's turned into ice. And I figured we'd bang one out while we're
Hibernating?
huh?
While we're hibernating?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go home and watch Netflix, I think.
Yeah. What did you get hit bad? Because it's not, I mean, yeah, obviously
We
it
didn't
snowed
get
here.
a lot of snow. It's just the problem is they've been plowing this, the state, whoever the hell plows the streets, have been plowing the streets, but it's 8 degrees out right now. So whatever crap they're throwing on the ground, in the back of the truck, salt or calcium, whatever the hell they throw on the ground, is not doing its job because it's 8 degrees. So
Gotcha.
that stuff I don't think works under 15 degrees or something or whatever. So
You would think by 2022 we would have a better solution than using salt to get rid of ice, because the salt destroys their streets, fucks up your car.
yeah.
You know.
And as you know, I got a long commute home, so I want to wrap it up for the day.
We could do a 30-minute run today. We don't need to, we don't.
No, we're doing an hour. We're doing an hour, and it's going to be gritty. It's going to be.
I want you to get home safe and sound, the 40 feet from the store door to your door.
But the last time I sat here, which is the front of my store, because as you know, the laptop weighs 768 pounds, so I have to go where the laptop is.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, no, I was talking about the hat,
yeah,
and your computer froze.
So you didn't hear what I said?
I got the hat thing off my chest. I'm just saying about committing to the hat as soon as you get out of the shower. You commit to it or you don't.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, I was actually agreeing with you, but I guess I froze, so you didn't. Like like you put a hat on, that's it. Until you get home, that's your story. That's how you're rolling.
Yep.
There's no other way about it.
I was trying to tell you, I got a haircut yesterday, so the hair isn't as bad as it normally would be, but you get hat hair.
Yeah, it happens. Whatever, man.
So the reason we're doing this podcast is you're telling me you have, and this is, I sit up and listen when Shawnee boy says he has something political he wants to get off his chest. So hit it.
Yeah, I've kind of just had I've had enough, man. Enough. Like now, like I talked to, I'm not going to name names. There's two things I want to talk about. So I'm going to get to Neil Young second, because I guess they kind of connect to each other.
You're not going to name names, but you want to get into Neil Young second.
Yeah, no, name someone I talked to, but I was talking to somebody the other day and they're like, dude, there's a new variant. I'm like, would you fucking stop?
Well, they're trying to conjure up a new variant. Yeah.
I was like, there's going to be a new variant in 6 years. You're going to still fucking hide under your bed?
Yeah, I know.
I was like, it's gotten to, so my school, and as we did in the earlier podcast, everyone got it.
Including your man that was on our live broadcast, your co-teacher there.
He got sick. He never got tested. So whatever, like whether maybe he got positive or not, but like everyone got sick.
Did you pick up the slack for him? Because he picked up the slack for you when you were on the COVID.
Of course, I sure did. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what we do there.
One good turn deserves another.
Yeah. Nobody got seriously sick. Nobody, and what I'm just gonna say, like, nobody, like, was in harm's way, and I know there are certain, like, people getting like sick and like maybe going to the hospital or but I looked up the numbers over the last 2 weeks from COVID in New York. There's like 1 person dying a day, 2 people dying a day. That's what Google said.
And they have morbidities, I'm sure.
Yes. So, and that sucks. Obviously, anyone dying, and like I understand what it's like to lose a family member. I get all that, but like we have to start fucking moving on, people.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, yeah. And then I talked to this person the other day, and they're like, "Well, there's a new variant." I'm like, "A new variant? I'm like, you could be hiding in your cave until you're 72. Like, what do you mean new variant?
Mm.
I was like, and like, the whole mask thing, like, it's time. It's like this spring, this world needs to be like, all right, yes, you can get COVID. I got tested positive for it. I've been through it, right? But the majority of people are going to be just fine, right?
Well, I was going to ask you, have you ever heard of the term pre-COVID? Have you ever heard of the term comorbidity?
I think I have.
I mean,
It's a little bit of,
before COVID came.
yeah, I believe I did. I think it's a little bit above my pay grade as a definition to spill out, but go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, you were talking about the people who have, in fact, there's very few people who have died from at least the, what's this called? Omicron?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there are people who, the ones that who have, it's fatal is people that have comorbidities, as I understand it.
And it's 3 to 4
Or whatever,
comorbidity.
you know.
Yeah, it's not like you just have like one underlying thing, like you have high blood pressure. Like it's like you have 3 or 4 things, like whatever. And like, yeah, that sucks. If that is not fun to be in that space. But there's 600,000 people die of heart disease every year.
Yeah, well, we discussed this when we did the podcast about your COVID experience. You've had it, and
yeah, I've hit a wall. Like, and then how many people die from, like, there's 150, 130,000 people die from a car accident every year. Does that stop me from getting in the car and going to work? No.
Especially today, very slippery out.
Well, today, that luckily it's a Saturday. Although I wouldn't be going into work today anyway. But if there was a work day, but it's like, it's either you're gonna move on from this fucking thing or you're not moving on from this fucking thing. And I personally am moving on from this fucking thing. Like, I'm done with all the bullshit.
Yeah. I've always been able to see both sides of that coin, especially the vaccine, not vaccine debate. But there is, in that debate, there is a certain lack of civility. There's just people calling each other names and calling each other out in stores and
Yeah.
you blame, nobody, whether you've been vaccinated or not, you're not to blame for this virus coming here.
Nobody is. Nobody asked for this shit.
You can argue whether you should get a vaccine or not, but it's not the person who's not getting a vaccine. It's not their fault that the virus is here.
No. And if you want to wear a mask, have at it, man. You can wear a double mask, triple mask. You want to live under a blanket, whatever it is that you want to do. I have no problem with it. But like this spring, like it's time for I'm gonna move on from all this. And like, you gotta let me like live my life too. Like everyone's gotta stop.
Well, this is the current, I'll show you. This is the current county by county stats of the coronavirus, which I'm assuming the propellant of these stats is the Omicron, right? Can you see that?
I can see it. And this is from the beginning, right?
Huh?
This is from the beginning, right?
Go. As usual, most of the cases are in the city of New York. That's where there's a heavy concentration of people.
Makes sense.
It almost breaks down by how thin the population is based, the stats. You're down in Westchester, so there's 241,000 cases, up 569. This is I guess on a daily basis. 9 deaths in Westchester. Can you read that little stat there? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm following.
I
would guess that's weekly, not daily.
I really don't know. There's a thing here.
There's like 213 people didn't die today in New York City. You can go up to the chart and go over a day.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to say each day shows new cases reported since the previous day. So I'm assuming in New York City, there were 5,500 new cases and 128 new deaths based on this information, which is each day shows new cases reported since the previous day.
Okay. All right. So maybe it's daily. And
well, the little plus signs are the daily increases. Yeah.
Yeah. that seems like I don't know. And my other issue is now, did you hear what the governor of New York said? Like they lied about the numbers, or they're like that they weren't completely honest about the death numbers, and like 50,000, like people that didn't have any underlining, whatever the word you used before. Like it's in the last years, it's been only 50, not, well, I shouldn't say only, but it's been 50,000 people, and it's not the number that they tried to present it to be.
Hit me one more time with that, what you just said.
So the New York State governor, I'm paraphrasing, so if I'm quoting her wrong, I apologize, but she kind of admitted that, anyone who didn't have an underlying issue, the numbers are a lot lower than what they presented.
Oh, well, they're doing that, sort of doing that nationally too. As even Fauci says, he admitted it that, there's a lot of people, you go in with a broken leg and, whatever. You go into the emergency room with a heart attack, and if you're COVID, positive, that's how
Yeah, that's what.
you died from COVID. So it's,
Yeah, which is
a little misleading, but
it's just a lot.
it
I'm
goes
sorry,
back,
go ahead.
I was going to say, it goes back to the thing I've been harping on all along is the CDC and the NIH, their information distribution system is shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Their stat reporting.
and like it's just me. I'm gonna keep it on me. I'm at a point in my life where I'm just moving on from this, right? If a store doesn't want to let me in because I'm not wearing a mask, I won't go in the store.
Well, that's
No
what we require. I require a mask in here.
No, I'm talking about like when the spring hits.
I'm talking
When,
like
like,
it goes away completely. I'm still going to require a mask. I don't want to see
okay,
people's chins.
all right, well, fair enough. That's but point being, it's like,
Chins under here. This mask
yeah.
is a godsend.
So I was in a UPS store by me like a week or two ago, and I had a mask in my pocket because it's still winter, so I'm gonna so I went in, maybe it was a week ago, without a mask on, and there's no official law that you have to wear a mask. Am I correct?
Well, again, information distribution has the entire population of this country confused. But as I
Yeah.
understand it, Hochul, is that her name? The governor?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it right, but yeah, something like that.
She's leaving it up to the individual merchant, as I understand.
Yeah. So by law, like I know you can refuse my service, my me being a customer, which is fine. That's where I'm at. Like I went in, this guy he said, "Hey, you need to put your mask on." I didn't say a word. I was reaching into my pocket to grab it, and he's just like, "Hey, I told you to put a mask on." Yo, I'm like, easy guy. I'm like, I'm going to. I'm like, doesn't it take a second to put it on? Can you give me? He's like, I didn't think you heard me. I'm like, well, you're raising your voice at me. Like, I'm like, easy. I was like, I no problem.
This guy works for UPS.
Yeah, he had like 3 masks on his face. I'm like, all right, like, and that's fine. Like, I'm not judging the guy, but it's like, yo, like me standing in front of you for 13 seconds it's not going to get you COVID. I promise you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sick. I know that you don't know that in the end. I wasn't trying to disrespect the guy, but like, give me a second to put it on, no problem. And like, he just kind of, and then like he 10 seconds later, he's like, and then, he helped me out and it was fine. And I said, have a great day. Thank you. Like, I'm not the type to like hold a grudge against the guy. It's like, all right, no big deal. Like you had a moment. But like, that's, like that just whole vibe. Like I'm moving on from it. I need to separate myself from this because you see that there's like still like a division of people. And I just don't want to be a part of that anymore. And that's just like people have the right to choose. You want to rock the mask and still hide under your bed. If that makes you feel safe, then that's what you need to do. But I've been outside pretty much the whole time going through this process, playing golf, right? I never really slowed down my life except for the first couple of months, which everyone did. And like, I'm fine. Like, and like, I have to like, remember, like, I'm okay, and I'm not getting people sick, and like, if I was feeling like shit, like I did over the Christmas break, I would stay home. I wouldn't fucking try to get people sick, but I could still go out and like live my life. Like, I'm not gonna be an asshole about it, but like if I'm feeling okay, like there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to, go to a store and not with a mask on, walk around and feel comfortable, like living life again. Like that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, in that podcast we did do with you and I think Keith Delval phoned in talking about experiences with COVID. The way you described it, I'd have to say you did everything responsibly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I would do that again. Just I know like because like not to pay attention to that is selfish, right? That's a selfish act, and I don't I try not to live my life to be selfish like that. But there's also the part where like I need to like we need to go back to some real normalcy. Like people are like don't realize I think right that how constricted we've really been for 2 years. How like like we're just not like we're not like it's like you take that deep breath. When's it like just as a culture, we haven't taken like a deep breath in a long fucking time. I mean, like, all right, let's move forward. Like I think it's time to move forward.
Well, there's a certain element of the population that's lives on the edge, and what we need is civility again. There's no civility. There's people just they feel like they have a right to tell somebody else what to do now,
Yeah.
and they're not polite about it.
Big time. And like I just said, like if I didn't know you and I went to your store and I didn't want to wear a mask and you said, hey, I need you to wear a mask. And I didn't want to. I'm like, oh, no problem. I won't shop here. No big deal. Like I wouldn't make a big deal about it. I wouldn't be like, you're crazy. Like you mask lovers. I would just like, okay, that's how you feel. I'm going to keep living my life. I'll move on to the next store and if no stores let me in, I'll order it online. There's other ways around it. You know what I mean? So
The key, it's not everybody works that way.
yeah.
Some people, it seems like they're out to get into an argument with other people, and
Yeah.
not realizing that these are your friends and supposedly neighbors. When this all goes away, and it will, they're still going to be your neighbors, and you still got to live with these people. So there's
Yeah.
civility, and that's what gets my goat. You're not a police person that can tell somebody else what to do, what not to do. If you have a private business and you require a mask, don't go in that business if you don't want to wear a mask. It's as simple as that. I can't think of any other way around it. And there's
That's
the
it.
debate, like what the hell with the mask? Now the cloth masks don't work. See, these masks I like because I can wash them.
Yeah, me too.
And the other ones are, I should take this laptop, which isn't 716 pounds, and show you my street. You'll find 30 masks on the ground on the street.
Yeah.
You won't
Because
see
people
them
throw
covered in snow at the moment, but
yeah.
that's my point. There's
and
all over the place.
and masks aren't like they don't stop like you from getting sick. It's not like, oh, I have a mask on, I can't get COVID because I wore a mask all school year and still fucking got it. My point being is I'm not saying, and like take your precautions, whatever works for you. But putting on a mask doesn't mean, okay, now I'm safe. I can walk it. Like if someone's really sick and you cross paths with them, you could still get sick with a mask on.
Yeah, well, the other side of civility is, people that I can see like I said, both sides of the thing. And people are nervous when somebody doesn't have a mask. So you wear a mask. Wear it chin like I do. And then when you go into a store that requires a mask, you pull it up.
Yeah. No, and again,
you can breathe
no
again
problem.
when you leave the store. It's not a big deal. There's so much of this is just bullshit. And it's just a lack of civility that really gets my goat.
Yes, I'm with you. And like, so yeah, that's like it's time to move on. I mean, that's how I feel about it. Like, I mean, it's like this spring would be 2 years. Like literally in 6 weeks is about 2 years since it blew up in New York City, and
it was right around the St. Patty's Day parade.
Yeah. So as a New York City teacher, I was like right in the middle of that. Like when they shut down the schools, and 2 years has gone by, and I know that people say, well, it's not the flu, and I'm not saying it's the flu, but the flu kills 50 to 60,000 people a year.
So, well, that was the other thing touched on your point about
we don't shut down for that.
About the misreporting of the stats. How many flu cases were there last winter? It was almost zero, because all of those flu cases were being counted as COVID cases.
Yes.
So the flu miraculously disappeared last year.
Yeah.
Everybody was counting them as COVID. So, the flu is a COVID virus also, as far as I can ascertain from, my pedestrian knowledge of it. But, it all stems from, and the anxiety in the society is just way out of whack. And it all stems, in my personal opinion, from the missing of information from the government people that are supposedly in charge of this virus. And I always put an amendment to that by saying they were learning as they go too. So you got to give them a little leeway. But even today, whether obviously we know a hell of a lot more about this thing than we did 2 years ago, they're still crappy in their information distribution system. And half the country doesn't know what the hell's going on. You know, I blame the CDC and I blame the NIH for a piss poor job of telling the country what to do and what not to do.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that, sir. And it's not like these CDC and these divisions, whatever, like sections of our, our society are the responsible to try to figure this stuff out. They've been working on this stuff for years. This isn't like for them, this wasn't like a surprise, like, oh my God, what is this new thing? I don't know how to handle this. Right. I mean, obviously how to handle it on a global and, millions of people scale, I'm sure is not easy to deal with, but they were prepping for this. So they say for a decade.
Well, that's what the point of this guy, the 4'8" guy that played basketball in high school, my ass.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. The reason why the supposed vaccine came out was so fast was because they've been working on it for like 7 years.
Yeah. But they didn't say that in the beginning. They left that part out.
Like this miracle, everybody came into the laboratory in their pajamas and worked 24/7.
Oh, I'm gonna to their family. I won't see you for months, dear. I'm going out to fucking save the world.
Yeah. But again, you have to give it a little bit of leeway because not sure they knew what the hell they were doing in the beginning either, and you can't really blame them for that.
That's a fair point. That's a really fair point. Like I'm a pretty fair person. Like, yeah, I get it. I get that part.
The only point all through is at this stage of the thing to still have confusing information coming out of those two departments. And why the hell there's two of them? National Institute of Health and the Center for Disease Control. Why is there two separate,
Yeah, it's almost like they're conflicting, right?
Yeah. But the point I'm making is by this point of the game, they should have at least have a unified information distribution that everyone can follow or not follow.
Yeah.
Now it's you got to have the N25, whatever the hell it is, mask, because these don't work. I got this from my insurance company. So
yeah, why? Yeah, it's like nothing works. It makes you feel like you're just like a fucking cattle just following the herd. Yeah, now I'll do this. Oh, okay, now I'll do that. All right, it's like
mentality is to me the underlying the underpin of what all the unrest in this country is. People are seeing that the supposed government or the people supposedly in charge don't know what the hell they're doing either.
Yeah.
So, but I always looked at the masks, even from the get-go, as making the other person feel comfortable. The reason why I have a mandate in the store is to make the customer feel comfortable.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I get that. I respect that.
I mean,
for sure.
I have an opinion as to whether it works or not. I don't think it does, but that's my opinion. It's not the customer's opinion, and they shouldn't suffer for it.
For sure. And like you said before, if I was in a place where they like really need me to wear the mask, I'd wear the mask. I'm not like on a soapbox being like burn masks. But like at the same time, I just need to start moving forward. Like I said before, move on with this, because otherwise, in 4 years, we're gonna be on the next. We're gonna be on like the alphabet, the third time through the alphabet with these fucking variants.
Yeah, it's like hurricanes. They'll have new names for each.
Yeah.
Down the alphabet, like you say. I guess the next one's gonna start with a P.
Yeah. Paulie's
variant. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll start. I'll transition into this other thing, and I'm even more frustrated about this, but I'll talk about that in a second. Especially fucking
Neil Young.
especially Neil Young's background and how he fucking stood up against censorship. But whatever. I sort of kicked thing. Fauci says he's like he was talking in an article. I didn't read the whole thing about the variants to expect in 2022. I was dying. I'm like, man, this guy just keeps like.
Yeah, he's turning into a weatherman now. He's gonna predict what's coming down the pike.
He owns the Pfizer fucking vaccine. Does everyone know that?
I happened to see a video. It was like a little one of those montage videos of news shows, you know, all over the gamut. Fox, MSNBC, CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC. They all have shows. Meet the Press or This Week in whatever. All of them sponsored by Pfizer.
Yes.
And you're going to tell me they're not beholden to these people? The people are keeping them on the air.
Of course.
You know, and I don't know why the hell Moderna don't open up its advertising, but whatever. Meet the Press this week, brought to you by Pfizer. Now, where's that slant going to be? You know?
Yeah.
And you made a good point in a previous podcast. You got, as I did, you got the shot, you got the other shot, and then you get the booster, and then you got COVID.
Yeah.
So, you know, I still adhere, just to keep my own sanity. I still adhere to the having the 2 vaccines and the booster mitigates your reaction to the thing.
But that's what helps people sleep at night, right? Because if it didn't,
I have to think that, or else I'll go nuts. You know,
yeah, which I get. Like, and I'm the same way. I'm like, well, I need to believe that this was like I got 3 shots. I mean, they're free. It's not like, but like, you know, they were free monetarily, but are they free in 10 years? We'll see. Well, there might be a price to pay.
You're going to pay it for it in your taxes anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we'll see. We'll see how, because, you know, in 2 years, the real study will come out. Yeah.
But my point is, you got the COVID after getting the 2 shots and the booster.
Yeah, I did everything they asked. Still got it.
Yeah, and you wore the mask and all the other BS.
Yes. Yeah.
And
like,
now people are like screaming at each other because of this, that, and the other thing. So none of this is anybody in this country's fault.
Yeah.
So take it easy on each other is all I have to say. You know.
No, that's good.
The Fauci man. You know, it's not his fault that came here.
If he wasn't from New York City, I don't know, you wouldn't like him at all.
I don't want to open that can of worms about who funded who in Wuhan.
Yeah. Like, I mean, at this point, that doesn't matter anymore. Like, because everyone's dealing with this, it doesn't matter.
But it's nobody's fault. It's not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Donald Trump's fault. It's here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not your next door neighbor's fault. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
If you don't like the fact that he's not wearing a mask or didn't get vaccinated, stay the hell away from him. That's it.
That's it. Just mind your biz.
Mind your business. Got to look to their own deportment, as Robert used
to
say.
Yeah.
In a movie, anyway. Your own deportment.
I use. I'm going to keep my side of the street clean. That's all I can do is keep my side of the street clean.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't say I've been shoveling all day, Sean. Don't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll one more thing, and then one more thing that popped in my head.
And then you're gonna nail Neil Young to the cross. Go ahead, hit it.
And I'm a fan of Neil Young's. It's not like I dislike his music. So the medication they had out, hydrochloroquine, whatever the fuck it's called, and Vectamin.
Hydrochloroquine, chloroquine.
Yeah, and you no longer can get that stuff. And it's like standard medicine. It's not like this crazy, like addictive, you know, like, dude, they would give you an opioid pill in a heartbeat, but you can't get the standard medicine. It's a little confusing.
Well, I think you can't get it because Donald Trump supported it.
Yeah, and then Joe Rogan like helped support it. And but like that leads into this Neil Young thing. Like, you no longer, like, we're like, this country is starting to control what's being said. And that's fucked up. It's fucked up.
My thought on that is, I think Neil Young, I don't know how old he is. I'm sure he's in his 70s at least. And I think he may have had a inflated view of his current, um, his current
Status.
relevance. Relevance is the word I was looking for.
If you don't pull him, I'm walking. All right, walk.
You're not going to pay Joe Rogan $18.5 million and then count out to what the hell Neil Young said. What does he get? Three downloads a month, maybe?
Yeah. Joe Rogan is the most viewed media source in the country right now. It's over any media station. And I think the media stations are starting to realize and freak out about it. And that's why he's getting all this backlash.
Well, it seems to be a concerted effort to try and drag him down. He's not, everything, it gets politicized.
Yeah.
He wouldn't characterize himself, nor would I, as a conservative. He's
not a conservative. He's like a crazy hippie liberal.
If he's anything, I don't think he's
growing up.
I thought
you did the last part. Like he grew up with parents who were hippie liberals.
Well, he didn't choose that, but I think.
No, I'm just saying, like he has that viewpoint. He instilled in him to a certain degree,
Yeah, if you had to throw a label on him, I would say he's probably a libertarian.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what he is, but he's not like a full-blown conservative. He's not.
He's not a Democrat. He's not a conservative. He's sort of like what was Rand Paul's father's name?
Ralph Nader?
No, Rand Paul's father's name. He was also
I don't know.
Ron Paul. He's sort of like a Ron Paul-ish. And that's, maybe I'm mislabeling him, but for some reason he's being viewed because of he does have a hard kind of stance about the BS surrounding the vaccine, the mask, the virus.
Yeah.
And I think there's a concerted effort to try and pull him down.
100%. Oh, it's obvious.
To your point, what is he's getting more than 10 million. If you accumulate a monthly download, it's way the hell more than 10 million a month, which is way more than CNN could say.
Yeah, just a little bit more than the Gritty Hour, but way more than CNN.
Well, I just happened the other day to look up the ratings of, the cable channels,
Yeah.
And
the Nielsen report, right? Whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever the hell it's called. I don't even know how they do that. How they configure that now. Is there something, are they getting like a direct feed from your cable box or something? I have no idea. But CNN is like, you can go to a pretty good sized party and outdo the ratings for CNN. You can go to a concert. You can go to a concert in the Garden, and there'll be more people there than watch, Rachel Maddow or something. But yeah, it's NBC, but still the same holds true. My point is I'm amplifying your point, which is, they're seeing that people aren't going to these channels anymore to get their information. They're going to places like Joe Rogan or alternative news sites, because they've been talking heads for years, and I'll throw Fox in that pile too. They're just talking heads. They're talking heads talking out their ass.
Yes, and it's just become sensational news. Not that some of it isn't true, but they sensationalize all of it.
Even the weather, Sean.
Yes, with the weather.
Been talking about this storm since Monday.
Yeah.
It's like it's the apocalypse.
Yeah, hunker down. I don't know if you're gonna make it. Make sure you got 2 generators, eggs, milk, which are the 2 stupidest things.
Saturday, make sure your will is certified.
And I woke up this morning, and then like 10 o'clock, I looked at it. I'm like, all right, it's snowing, but like, if you're from New York, this is nothing. This is not a storm.
Yeah.
I bet So back to the Neil Young thing, and if anyone doesn't know what happened, so Neil Young's on Spotify with his music. Joe Rogan is the #1 podcast in America, maybe the world. I don't know if that's correct, but definitely America. Spotify, it's the world, and Spotify sponsors him. They're the main hub, main platform that they pretty much own the rights to his show, I guess, or whatever. And his stance on the vaccines and the medication that you could take as an alternative and everything, like Neil Young felt like it was misinformation, and he challenged Spotify to kick Joe Rogan off. But if you're a company and you're #1 seller, you're like, well, Neil Young, we're not kicking him off. So if you want to leave, have at it, go ahead. But what concerns me is now this country's feeling less and less like a democracy with stuff like that.
Well, Neil Young is, first of all, he's not a government official, and he's not even an American. He's a Canadian.
Even worse.
The
Right?
man don't see him around anyhow.
Yeah, but the point being is like, you know, like Joe Rogan isn't, you should never be, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not putting people's lives in danger, because it's not like you can run to the CVS and get the fucking shit he's talking about. It still needs to be doctor prescribed and stuff, you know?
Like I told you, I really, to be honest with you, I don't listen to Joe Rogan on Spotify, but I do watch he does come out with snippets of his podcast on
Yeah.
YouTube. And that's where but seems to be pretty well knowledgeable about, vitamins and health. He seems like he's in fairly good shape.
Very good shape. He's
So
got
he seems to be probably more knowledgeable than Neil Young about how to treat yourself body wise, your health.
Yes. And he took the and I'm not like, if you want to get the vaccine, go for the vaccine. But if there's an alternative that works for people, and like, there's doctors who've been on the show that say, yes, this works. It's not like it's just him. And then now all of a sudden, like, those doctors are wrong. It's like, so then in my mind, I'm like, why are those doctors wrong? But then the doctors for the vaccine are right. Right. It's just like back to the confusion. It's just like, and I'm not confused about it. Like, I got, but in America, there's only one medical option. That's a socialist society.
Well,
if there's other options that are proven there's proof that they work for people, and then they take theirs all off the market, that makes me frustrated. It makes me like, what's going on here?
Yeah, well, there's somebody looking in my window.
Throw something on.
Let me open the store.
Yeah.
Sell
Get them on the podcast.
Sell something for $4.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say?
I was talking about the medical options. Like, why are they?
Yeah, what I wanted to say was, it does seem conspiratorial, and that does make me nervous, But
so when you get a cold, is there one remedy, or there's like 10 different things you can do for it? When you get the flu, is there one thing that you have to do, or there's other remedies for it?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, I'm not discounting vaccines or the COVID shot. No, go for it. Like, like, I got them, but that's it. When the other people, and not just him, doctors are saying, no, there's other things we can do to help this for certain people. Other people it may not work. So, like, whatever, but like, why are we shooting down Joe Rogan, and now we want to kick him off Spotify because he's just talking? He's not like out there selling the medicine. He's just talking about it.
Well,
it's crazy.
It goes to what I've been saying for a really long time already, that the biggest lack in our society is individual critical thinking. I had mentioned in a previous podcast about electric cars, and they're filling up their electric cars, not thinking about where the hell the electricity comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the same goes.
It comes from the plug in the wall.
It comes with the plug. The electricity comes right out of thin air. They're not burning coal. Don't worry about it.
Lithium batteries are good for the environment. Don't worry about
it. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. But the other thing is that the first time you have to worry is when they say trust science. When they say you got to trust the science.
Yeah.
Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
And what that means, when you have doctors that are being stifled because they're antithetical to the line that's trying to be pushed out there.
Yes. And like, there's real doctors who have gotten fired and whatever because they want to do alternative. And that's all I'm saying. Why is the alternative not on the table? They've hidden all that medicine. Like, you cannot get it right now.
If you're Mr. Pfizer and you spent all that money on advertising, you're going to want to get that paycheck. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And to be honest with you, I knew about a company called Pfizer before, but I've never seen commercials for it until the last year. Now all of a sudden, like you were talking about, now all of a sudden I'm like, this is like one of the top, and Fauci's the main guy involved in this company.
Yeah, I don't know what search words you would put in, but if you went on YouTube, you'd find this compilation video. Probably use terms like Pfizer sponsorship compilation or something. Pfizer
Yeah,
news show whatever. Put those keywords in there. I'm sure you'll find it eventually. And it's
yeah,
very sobering how many shows they sponsor.
yeah. And I mean, because Pfizer is a pharma. It's a pharma, and besides the tech companies and the oil companies, which are probably scared out of their minds about Tesla, but pharma is the other top industry in the world, and they're fucking, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna get into that, but I want to keep talking about. So Neil Young, right? He questioned, right? And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Didn't he fight fight against censorship when he was younger in his career?
Well, he fought a lot of things that were politically expedient at the time.
Yeah.
He was a big anti-war, anti-Vietnam War.
Which is good. I'm fine with that, but like he believed in like the amendments, and now he wants to like silence people. Okay, all right. I just think that it's and then Pearl Jam, one of my top bands, who I don't even know if I like them anymore because the last two albums for me have not been that good, or I'll be honest with you, they've been terrible. But for me, like now they're thinking about leaving Spotify, and you're like, guys, what are we doing here? This is what I'm talking about. What are we doing? All right. What does Joe Rogan being on Spotify have to do with like people wanting to listen to your music on Spotify? You're making it about you. It's not about you. It's about me, the listener. Stop being so fucking selfish.
That boy, Sean, you're making me
Yeah.
proud.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I've had enough. Like when I heard that news, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, there's been a trend the last few years to be, look how good I am because I'm against this type bullshit.
Yeah.
Who cares whether you're for it or against it? I don't really care about your point of view.
Yeah, I just want to hear your music. And Pearl Jam, Neil Young, you're millionaires because of us.
Hmm.
Millionaires. So pump the brakes for a second.
Hmm.
How much money did you make from Spotify? It's like, all right, So now it's crossed the line. You're gonna give back all that money you made? Of course not.
Welcome to the precipice of old age, Shawnee boy.
Yeah, well, I realize I've gotten to that point now where you're just like, but like it's like bullshit because I've listened to Pro Jam, I've seen so many shows and they were like, free speech, free this, free that, and all of a sudden it's just like, whoa, I don't agree with what he's saying. Got shut him down.
Joe Rogan is all he's doing is, and I think he's moderately doing it in the first place, is just um, articulating his attack plan that was right for him.
Exactly.
So what he's really being victimized, you want to call him a victim. I don't know if he'd call himself a victim, but if you want to say what he's being victimized is that he's so popular. If he was a podcast on the scale of the Gritty Hour, no one would give a shit. But he's,
No.
like I said, way more than 10 million, 10 million downloads a month at least. It's got to be more.
Well, he's taking viewers away from the main corporation to the main fucking
Yeah, and they'd rather drag him down and try and maybe do something for themselves that would, there's a reason why he has this many views.
Yes. And like he and I'm sure if I listened to everything he said, I wouldn't agree with everything he said, but he's asking questions. He's doing his diligence to find out other avenues, other perspectives. And I can't believe that's being shitted on.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, to me, isn't that what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to like
I
learn.
way undercut what he's doing here. Hold it. How the hell did I share that page again?
You bottom the share button, the share screen. It's a green button on the bottom.
Share screen. He's gotten way more than 100. Can you see that? Well, this is as of April 2019, and he's grown since then.
So he's over
190 million downloads each month. I don't know how many podcasts he comes out with a week, 3 or 4, maybe a week.
I think it's one a week. I think I could be wrong, but let's call it 200 million downloads a month.
Give or take. There it is.
Yeah.
And
So
that's why he's got a bullseye on his back, you see. It has nothing to do with how he feels about COVID and how he feels about vaccines. You know,
Yeah, he's taken over and they're panicking, and that's what's happening.
the guy, whoever the hell his name is, that runs CNN, he would crawl over his grandmother to get 190 million views a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing about him is there's no commercials for his shit. He's not trying to throw anything down your throat. He's just talking to other people and they're just having conversations. It's like real shit.
As far as I can tell, his podcast, I've been following him for a couple of years already.
Yeah.
His podcast has grown organically.
Yes.
You don't really see ads
Yeah.
for it, you know.
No, you just, if you go on YouTube and if you happen to listen to him, like his shit pops up, right? Because the algorithm that we've learned about, like, but you know, like he has 1,750 podcasts he's done for this Joe Rogan experience. Maybe he's done more, but that's 1,750 different fucking people he's talked to. Don't tell me that. And like, let's say that 100 to 150, 100 of them are doctors. So he has some experience in the medical world, not doing operations, but like talking to 100 people that are doctors is the same as reading fucking books on being a doctor. So there is some, like, you know, like if you compare me to him, he's more knowledgeable about medicine than I am. Of course, he's talked to more doctors. Like I have one doctor I talk to.
Yeah.
Once a year, you know, so like, of course, I don't know much about medicine, but, and I wouldn't go to him to fucking make me a medicine pill, but I'm sure he has some knowledge about it. So like to say that he doesn't know what he's talking about, you know, like that's just like he's taking, it's like almost taking courses in medicine from professors.
Mm-hmm.
Same concept.
Yeah. Well, the case in point, you know, everything I've said about COVID related things, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It's just a basic common sense. What your gut is telling you is bullshit and what's not. I mean, you know, everyone's born with common sense. You just use it every once in a while. And again, critical think things through.
Yeah.
Something right in front of you, think how it got there and why it's there, you know. The one thing I'll disagree is that there is a lot of conspiracy theories around this whole thing, and it was politicized. I think if Trump wasn't president when it came around, it probably wouldn't be as politicized because he's a, you know, he's a polarizing figure, obviously. But the fact that it has been politicized, there are a lot of conspiracies around this whole, everything we just discussed in the last half hour. There's a lot of conspiracy theories around. People are actually saying, well, the government is taking away your rights and you're sitting there not doing anything. Well, personally, I don't feel like I've lost any of my rights. I mean, I am a business owner and I did 2 years ago have to close for almost 90 days, and they did tell me I had to close, but that was part of a reaction to a new pandemic.
Yes, the first 3 to 4 months, I get that, right?
Consider that they're taking away my rights as a business owner. You know, you're just doing what everyone else is doing to hopefully get the community through the current crisis at the time.
Yeah.
But in general, do you feel like any of your rights have been violated? And like, has your First Amendment been under attack?
No, because like, look at me right now. I'm talking to you, and eventually this is going to go onto the internet. So
No, the FBI will get to this way before we put it on.
they might, yeah, but no. So I don't. Yeah, individually, no, I don't feel like my rights are nothing's been taken away except for one thing. Right, in the teaching world, they forced everyone to get shots.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got them before that, so me personally, no. But there's a lot of teachers who went right up to the last day that fucking make a decision about their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Good point.
And everyone still got it.
What's even more alarming than the teachers, and I agree with you, but healthcare workers, the people who were supposed to know whether this is right or wrong,
yeah,
refused to get vaccinated, were fired.
Yeah.
So,
and then this is what gets left out. They're like, hospitals are under a lot of pressure. Well, you fired half the staff.
Yeah.
No, you know, so there's just so much about all this nonsense. And it's like we just have to, I believe, we just have to move on. Not stop taking precautions, but just start moving on, like really moving on, because the world is still stuck in this. We're stuck in this shit.
Have you noticed, neither one of us are in the medical industry, so, we're not zoned into this, but have you noticed how many mergers there's been in the healthcare industry in the last 5 years?
Has there been a lot? I haven't noticed.
Lot, and it seems like they kick out a lot of insurance companies when they merge. I think they're trying to kick everybody to the Obamacare thing, so that might be a conspiracy that has some legs.
And have a more of a socialistic medical system.
Yeah, there could be some juice behind that those maneuvers,
Yeah.
but with all the stuff going on in that, like, you can't call your doctor and schedule an appointment for 3 weeks from now. This right now it's January, the end of January as we're recording this, so come out in the first week of February, I guess. But if you called today to get a doctor's appointment for a routine physical, they'd set you up sometime in September.
Yeah, so I go my February break, which is coming, I go, and like last February I made it for this February, right? So yeah, like every year I make, when I'm done with my annual checkup at the end of the annual, I make my new one for the next year.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like I couldn't just call my doctor and be like, hey, I'll see you in a week. Like those days are over.
Yeah, I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. Same day as the haircut. What a busy day, Sean.
Wow.
And he said, the doctor says, well, come back, we'll do your full physical, everything looks good, blah, blah, blah. You're gonna live till I get paid. Come back in 6 months and we'll do the full physical, because I usually get it in August. The full physical, where he gets to know you better and all. And so I said, fine. So he leaves. I go out to the front desk. Well, the earliest I got is September. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's 9 months from now.
Yeah.
The doctor
Yeah,
see me in 6 months. With this lady, don't have no space for me until September.
yeah.
And a lot of it is, I think, just all that time that they didn't see patients in person. There's a backlog of people that haven't been to the doctor in 2-3 years.
Probably.
Because of COVID or whatever the reason, but I just think there's a huge backlog in the healthcare industry, and I think that it's a concerted effort to get everybody into socialized medicine.
Yeah,
that's my conspiracy theory, and I'm sticking with it.
It makes sense. I mean, I don't know enough about, but like what you're saying makes sense. I mean, listen,
Actually,
there's a.
I'm sorry, that's precisely the countries like England and Canada that have socialized medicine. It's precisely what those people go through. You make an appointment for 9 months from now.
Yeah, you break your hip, you got to like wait 3 months before they fucking deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, you could make an appointment and for 3 weeks from now.
Like, so I don't know about it because I never lived in it, but I don't think people realize how good United States, when you have coverage, obviously if you don't have coverage, it's a fucking issue. But when you have coverage, how good the medical system is here compared to most places in the world.
Well, because it's profit based,
Yeah, but like, you immediately see, like if you break your leg within an hour, it's being looked at. Generally speaking, I'm sure there's obviously outlier situations, but generally speaking, like you're going to get seen, and within 24 hours, the problem will be dealt with, and whether you need surgery or whatever you needed, like it will be handled.
Yeah. In the last 10, 15 years, there's this thing called urgent care, which is not the emergency room and it's not the doctor's office.
Yeah, and I go there. That's where I go when I need a quick, like whatever.
That didn't exist 15 years ago. I never even heard the term urgent care.
It's great. It's a great service.
I know, it's good, but I never even heard of it before. You would either go to the emergency room if you had an emergency. If it wasn't an emergency, you got a doctor's appointment.
Yeah. And if you go to socialistic healthcare, urgent care won't exist.
Do you have to have insurance to get into? I don't even know anything about urgent care.
Yes, yeah. So like I pay a copay, like anything else. Yeah, I pay a copay. I forget what it is. And 20 bucks, 40 bucks, whatever, nothing serious. And then you're done. And you so that's where I went for my COVID test. That's where anytime I'm like feeling like sick, I'm like, wow, what the fuck? Like I have a virus or something. Or
But you mentioned when you post COVID, you did go to your personal physician, right?
no, my appointment's in February.
Oh, so he hasn't seen you since COVID. So I was always befuddled when you said no doctor that you discussed the condition with, COVID being the condition, gave you any kind of a regimen like to follow or any kind of medication, or they just told you to
That's
go home and, you know?
that's when everything changed for me, T. That was seriously, that was when the doctor's like, yeah, you're good, you're fine, go home. That's like, what? I was like, all right. I was like, what, like, I mean, for me, from my story, I like someone who, again, who has 4 different underlying things, maybe the doctor, but like, he went through, he asked me questions. I'm like, no, I don't have any stuff. He's like, you're fine, go home, you test positive, stay in your house for 10 days. Take care. I was like, all right, bud.
But that's what, you did say that, and that's what I was always confused about it. Like, he didn't even tell you to take this, that, or the other thing, or.
But that's when I like, if you like, you can only base it on like where you're standing, right? And for me, and like I know friends who's someone who has an underlying thing, and it hit them really rough, and like it wasn't fun for them. I get that, so I can respect that, and I can empathize and sympathize, and like that sucks, and like there's nothing fun about that. Like we all know what it's like to be like really sick, whether it's COVID level or a flu. Like it's not fun, but like my whole kind of what I was trying to say is like, for me, just for me, I'm moving forward. And the doctor thing had a lot to do with it, when he's just like, you're good, dude. All right.
Mm.
Like, so like, I'm going to trust what a doctor says, and
Yeah.
he was so nonchalant with me. And like, that was like the second day, and I was feeling like shit. I wasn't like, oh my God, terrible. I wasn't feeling good, like, as we all know what like it's like not to feel good. And he's like, you're fine, man. Like, all right. So
Well,
I was like, after
I assume, because I always try and look at, I'm going to assume that he saw your physical condition, your age,
yes,
you're in good health
yeah,
to begin with.
yeah.
And
He checked everything that needed to be checked, temperature, lungs, and I forget, maybe my ears or I don't know, my nose, I don't know, whatever fuck he checked, but he's like, everything's fine. I was like, all right, see ya, Now for somebody else, and like you go in and you're having breathing problems, yeah, I'm sure it's fucking scary as fuck. And like, that's not fun, of course, but that's not my story, and I can only live my story.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Given how you got through it, that's the story you want to live.
Yeah, exactly,
All
so
people getting hospitalized, and like you
yeah,
said, comorbidity, another term I never heard of before COVID, but
yeah. Great word.
comorbidity. I'm not sure it's a Scrabble word, but so yeah. So getting back to Neil and Pearl, when there is this trend, this, I don't know when you want to call it a woke trend, whatever the hell you want to call it, to be look how good I am because I'm against this, or look how good I am because I'm making a stand here on this bullshit. Like, a lot of times, all those people that do that get a face of cold water when they realize just how unrelevant they are. Neil Young got a massive dose of just how relevant he is when Spotify said, yeah, take it easy, Neil. And
Yeah,
it was a good song. It's 55 years old, but it was a good song.
yeah. Neil, just you're not paying the bills here. Just so you're just like your Saturday night money. That's all you are to us.
I want to put myself in his shoes, like why he did that, but I think he may have had a slightly elevated sense of self when he did that.
Yeah, so he used the word misinformation. That's also like frustrating me, because I'm like, Neil Young, so the whole fucking world's been giving us misinformation for the last year and a half. What are you talking about? Like every 3 months it's changing. So you can name anything as dude, they used to think the earth was flat, brother. That was misinformation. Like it's like that's a part of life, you know. That doesn't mean Joe Rogan's right or wrong, but he should be entitled to speak his mind. And that's the part that really grinds my gears, sir.
Well, you know, there's not a huge part of the population that's going to say, where the hell am I going to listen to Heart of Gold now? You know,
No, I mean, listen, Ohio, good song. Rockin' in the Free World, one of my all-time favorite songs to fucking rock out to.
hi, was that Neil Young?
Yeah.
You sure Graham Nash or David Crosby didn't write that?
I would look it up on Spotify, but he's not on there anymore. Because I'm a Spotify user.
You know, that's the problem. A lot of these people have inflated senses of themselves, like they feel like they're going to move the mountain because they're going to come out on a certain issue and pick your issue, really. And people are going to jump because he's taking a stand or she's taking a stand on this and that issue. Nobody gives a fuck what you stand on this and that issue.
Yeah, no one gives two shits.
You know, you write songs. He's a great songwriter, and I don't know about singing, but he's a great songwriter. But you know, he's not a great virologist. You know,
Yeah.
I would go to see Neil Young if I had a bronchial problem.
I mean, old man, great song.
But I wouldn't go pay to see Joe Rogan play a concert either. So stay the hell in your own zone.
That's all. That's all. And allow people to speak. And I like you see it more and more. People are like this cancel culture, and everyone's trying to, like shoot each other down. And it's like, yo, you know, like the First Amendment is freedom of speech. Everyone know that? Do we forget that? Like that's like the basis. Like if we start playing around with the idea of what could be said and what it can't be said, that's Pandora's motherfucking box.
Yeah. Well, you know what Joe Rogan's secret sauce behind the 190 million downloads a month, which I'm sure is more than that now. You know what his secret sauce is? What he's saying rings to most of his listeners as common sense.
Yes.
And critical thinking.
Yes.
He's doing both things, and people are responding. People want to hear it because they're not getting it anywhere else.
Yeah.
There's another guy that I've been following recently. His name is Tim Pool.
I don't know if I know.
A podcast. He's a young guy. He's like in his low to mid 20s. And he's sort of echoing a lot of what Joe Rogan says, or he comes from the same mindset, at least. You know, I don't think he's a Republican or a Democrat, but he has a good following as well. Not nearly as big as Joe Rogan's, but you know, this whole issue about Corona has gotten so politicized that if you go against the grain, you know, people on the left are going to think you're a conservative nut job because you're speaking your mind. You know, Joe Rogan's not a conservative nut job.
Like to some people today, I might come off as a conservative now, right? And I'm not. I'm far from being a conservative. It's just like you like you just said, you have to be able to and like maybe I realized in a month that what I'm saying was wrong, but but we have to like talk about it and ask questions and see the other side and at least think about the other side instead of just the fucking rabbit hole we've been in for the last year and a half. Like,
well, I'm liberal on some things and conservative on others.
Yeah.
I like to bottleneck myself. I'm certainly not a member of either political party, although a lot of people, I think it's because of my accent. A lot of people think I'm a Republican. I'm not a Republican.
Yeah, I'm not. There's things I believe in on both ends.
Yeah,
and there's stuff I believe in, and let's be real for again. Joe Biden, what the fuck has he done?
Who?
Exactly.
Joe who?
Joe Biden.
Oh, didn't he run for office?
Yeah, but like he's like the country isn't doing great under him, and like he's not getting bashed for it.
Well, he did say he's done more in the first year of his presidency than any president in American history.
Wow, that's interesting.
So the president never lies, so he must have done a lot.
Yeah.
I know, all I could tell you is I'm paying about $1.50 more in gas.
Yeah. I'm not saying that like he's ruining the country. I'm saying that like what's different since he's taken over? What's really different? Besides prices have gone up everywhere you look. Besides that, what is really different? We're
Well,
still in the same. We're still in COVID. Like nothing's changed.
well, a reporter in the White House, he must have did a press conference. A reporter actually asked him, more people have died under your administration than under the Trump administration from COVID.
And what did he say?
I think that's when he went on his nobody's done more than me, and I'm the greatest guy that ever lived. From Scranton, I'll take you out back and throw you a beat.
Oh shit! I mean, I know it's gonna happen, but like that's a moment where Joe Biden could have just gotten really honest and been real for a second instead of the fucking nonsense they shoot at you.
Well, I think both of us agreed in a previous conversation similar to this. There's way too many people that have been there way beyond their shelf life.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's 78. Trump is 70 something. Mitch McConnell is like 143. Nancy Pelosi is just announced she's going to rerun. She's 81 or 2 years old. The hell out.
Yeah. What we talked about, 35 to 65 should be when people can hold government official jobs. After before that, you're too young, you don't have enough experience. After 65, go fucking retire somewhere. Go do your thing.
I don't want to be labeled as an ageist or anti, but I mean, Nancy Pelosi, come on, give us a break. Her district is like the homeless capital of the world, and she wants to rerun for another term. She's 82, 81 years old.
Well, Nancy Pelosi, the Schumacher, am I saying right?
Schumer,
and then the Republican guy who's been there forever. What's his name?
Donald.
Yeah, all of them. Time to move on. Fresh blood. Let's go.
But first of all, I don't know the facts. He's been there since I was way younger than you are now.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of there.
Yeah, all of them.
Send it to the next guy.
The problem is it's become a job where you become a millionaire. You become rich in that job.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. $40,000 rice boxes she has.
Yeah, I heard a stat that more than half of politicians now are millionaires.
Yeah. Well, more than half are definitely lawyers. I mean,
yeah, so we're
professions that could serve that role.
So isn't that conflicting?
You and I are in two different districts. Let's take them over, both of us.
Yeah, we should. But actually, I don't want the job. I don't want to fucking the headache. But it's just we can keep going. I mean, like we're on a roll today. I'm airing it out. I think you're vibing off of it because it's just.
I went off schedule on a snowy day because Shawnee Boy said he had something political to get off his chest. Now I sit up and listen when Shawnee Boy says that.
Yeah. I don't. That's decision.
For the most part, you're an apolitical guy.
Yeah, I don't get too involved in it, but I think I hit a wall.
I heard the term "Let's go Brandon" before I mentioned it.
Yeah,
that's how
I did. Yeah,
how apolitical you are. But so when you say I have to get something political off your chest, I'm going to drop what I'm doing. I closed the store.
Well, my buddies were going back and forth about Neil Young, and I'm like, so what happened? And then they told me, I'm like, are you fucking serious? Are you serious?
Oh man, look at my life.
Yeah, this is what we're doing.
Like you are.
Neil Young, go back to your ranch, smoke a J, and make a song. Take it easy.
Ask Leonard Skinner about Neil Young.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
but anyway, I'm sure we solved all of the world's problems in this, what turned out to be more than an hour. You said we'll do a 30-minute thing just to get it off my chest.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we went for a minute. That's good.
Go all the way home from here in the sheet of ice that's outside.
Me too. I got to go all the way to my living room. So
I bet I get to mine before you get to yours.
You might.
I don't want to tell people where I live, but it's not that far from where I'm.
No. Yeah. Just say, he can see it right now.
I have to wait for the light to change.
There you go. Yeah, that's true.
All right, Sonny boy. Well, I'm glad you got that off your chest, and I'm here,
I appreciate it, T. That was some very good sharing session. I like it.
yeah, do you feel better?
I do. I had to get off my chest. It was bugging me.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Good. That's what we're here for, to get it,
That's-
so we can both rant and rave time to time.
Yeah, we haven't had a good rant in a while, so it felt
All
good.
these issues will be stale by the time this gets aired, but
Yeah, they're like Neil Young.
yeah,
Who's that?
I'm the Kron. Isn't that over? All right. We'll talk to you
All
in
right,
the future, Shawnee boy. You come
all
up
right.
with some more political things and I'll be here for you.
Sounds good.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
brother. Have a good night.
All right, T.